Welcome to another episode of Should You Take That Case with your host, Lisa Wade, your friendly neighborhood legal nurse consultant, owner of Wade Nurse Consultants, and creator of our private LinkedIn community, the Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. That is where we get all of our stellar attorney guests. The goal of our show is to be a resource for legal professionals who pursue medical cases by sharing their experience and insights as defense or as plaintiff attorneys. You can catch prior episodes at www.wadenurseconsultants.com/blog on LinkedIn and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Now here's the host of Should You Take That Case, Lisa Wade.
Hello and happy Monday, everyone. Welcome. Or should I say, happy Medical Record Monday, because that's what we celebrate here on each episode of Should You Take That Case. Thank you for coming. You know the goal of our show. It's to be a resource for legal professionals like you who pursue medical or medically related cases. And it is me, your host. I am Lisa Wade, legal nurse consultant and owner of Wade Nurse Consultants. Think of us when you have tons and tons of medical records you need translated into normal human language. And visit us at wadenurseconsultants.com. Now, each week we use this as an opportunity here on Should You Take That Case to get to know each other, you members of our Attorney Medical Record Resource Group, because I'm interviewing one of you folks each week on this show. And today we are going to see Paul Campson, and he is repeat. He's been here before. He's going to come back again, just like he promised. And before we bring out Paul, first we're going to scoot over to the comment section, see if anybody's visiting us live. Ask you to put an A into that comment if you are an attorney, P if you are a paralegal, but put a W if you are part of a wonderful group, Women Owned Law. I'm a member. Come and join us, because Women Owned Law is a groundbreaking group created to connect and advance women legal entrepreneurs and help women lawyers get on with the business of law. So come and visit us at womenownedlaw.org. See if it is a place that you'd like to visit or like to stay. So now I just want to thank anybody that's watching us live or catching us on the replay. And here's Brad. Hi, Brad. Attorney Brad, thanks for coming. Get ready. Towards the end, Paul is going to have a little Q&A session. So feel free to stay and introduce yourself or ask whatever questions you have of Paul. Thank you kindly. All right. Thank you for coming, Brad. Thank you for anybody else that's catching us on live or on the replay. And we are going to get ready to bring out our repeat guest for today, Paul J. Campson. And here you are, Paul. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, my pleasure. Nice to see you again, Lisa.
Oh, thank you. Why don't you reintroduce yourself to the folks out there? Tell us a little bit about you and your practice and what you're doing in New York.
Sure. So my name is Paul Campson. I'm a personal injury attorney for 32 years. For the last 24 years, my wife, Dawn, and I have had our own law firm. So it's a 50-50 partnership. So maybe we are a woman-owned law firm.
Business. She can come on in.
Yeah.
We'll talk later. I'll message her.
We're big supporters of that and the importance of getting women more involved in the business end of running the law.
Perfect. We've got a big chunk of a group from Women Owned Law right in New York. They have brown bag lunches periodically, and she can just come on in town and enjoy. But That's enough. I'll talk to Dawn later.
Right. That's another one. Right.
Tell me more about you.
Sure. So we have offices in Midtown Manhattan and up in White Plains, and we serve all types of clients who have been victims of accidents, and the medical part of the case, as you well know, Lisa, is of the utmost importance, and the service that you're providing is paramount to winning the case.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
It's appreciated. Well, tell us, since you've been here, maybe you've had some changes that have gone on. Tell us a few of them, if any, that have changed either personally, professionally, anything since we last got together. Tell us.
Sure. So, Campson and Campson, we're growing pretty steadily. We've added on employees. We've added on virtual assistants. Things are pretty good.
Oh, that does sound good. I love a virtual assistant.
Yes,
I have one, and they are once you've got them, you don't know what you did without them.
Exactly. Get on the train.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, everybody get on board. All right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what keeps you intrigued and interested in your law practice. What do you enjoy about it?
Well, things are changing all the time. So it's intellectually stimulating to be a lawyer and to be involved in the practice. Right now in New York, we have a bill before the governor where we're trying to change the law that was written in 18 something. And basically it says the law as it stands today in New York is if you're killed in a accident, if you're not a wage earner, your life is virtually worth nothing. Yeah. So if you're a traditional stay-at-home spouse or a child, it's not worth anything because the big money comes from loss of income and future income. So the bill is before the governor, and we hope she signs it. And we've been active in supporting the passage of that legislation. So it's things like that that is not only intellectually stimulating, but could provide a real service to the community with that.
Yeah, that does, law as it stands does not sound like justice.
It is not. And the insurance companies, God bless them, they're doing their best to get it over, to shoot it down. But I think we have a good shot at getting a pass this time.
Okay. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Paul.
Yep. And I'll let you know when we receive the good news.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And tell us a little bit about what cases involving medical records, since we talked about that a lot last time. Are there any coming up that you've pursued or referred or bypassed for whatever reason, since we last got together?
Sure. So, there's a lot going on with, first of all, trying to make sure that the medical records that we have causally relate, the injury to the accident. That's first and foremost. It gets tricky when the client may have had an accident or an injury not from an accident, say 7 years ago or so, and you have to now relate that to the new accident. We have a couple of cases currently where a client's been involved in a motor vehicle accident 2 times within like the last year. Mm-hmm. Right. So that gets real tricky as to how do you relate what injury to what accident and so forth. So it really takes a medical expert to really make that connection. It's beyond certainly my pay grade.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I can see where things could get a mishmash, to say
Right.
the least.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, well, tell us, you've you've had, well, there've been a lot of goings on since the shutdown and getting back to work. So
Yeah.
is there anything that you have learned over the past 24 months or so that's changed the way that you are running your practice?
Yes. It's something we've long suspected, but going to court is a colossal waste of time.
Oh.
By and large, it really is. Certainly these preliminary conferences where you get a discovery schedule or so forth, during COVID, that became, a 5-minute email, a shared document, and that was it. During COVID, we were handling 5-6 conferences a day within 40 minutes and never leaving the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Now the courts are starting to try to get back to mandatory in-person appearances. But in the old days, you'd go there, you'd be number 65 on a calendar, you'd show up at 9:30, you get called at 11. And for that hour and a half, you're doing nothing. You could be productive and do some work, but by and large, you're not doing anything. I think so we really drilled down on automation and processes, workflows and things of that nature to really streamline the entire process to really eliminate the downtime and the waste of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, when you get habits and traditions
Yes,
out of the way, you
for
can
sure.
get to the meat of what has to get done.
Yes.
I like that. It does sound much more time effective.
Absolutely.
So there was one thing that has come up recently for me and my business, and I'm just trying to see how it works into your business. IMEs, independent medical exams, or DMEs,
Yes.
defense medical exams. Tell us a little bit about what they are and
Sure.
how they pop up during your litigations.
Yes. Well, they pop up all the time. An IME, an independent medical examination, is a misnomer, and it doesn't exist because it's called an IME by the insurance industry and the defense attorneys who represent insurance companies. They send you to one of their doctors who they've paid to do a report, to do an examination, ostensibly, that lasts probably under 7 minutes.
Oh, boy.
And to write a report. And what I love is when you get the report, and the first sentence of the report usually is, on X date, I performed an independent medical evaluation of patient X. So at trial, that's just fodder for a good litigator. You just have to, you get the doctor understanding, you say independent medical examination, but that's not true, right? And he's like, well, of course it is. I'm like, well, who paid you? Did you consult with me? Did you ask me for any input? Did you ask, and it becomes pretty clear to a jury that this is a hired gun.
Mm-hmm.
So we call it a defense medical examination, which is in reality, they're the same thing, but it's much more accurate a description, the DME, as opposed to the IME.
Okay, I got you.
Yep.
So how how do they pop up in maybe the last time it popped up in a litigation, and how do you proceed once that comes up?
Right. So there's in car accident cases, there's usually multiple DMEs. One is from the client's own insurance company, which is a no-fault exam, because they want to send their insured, our client, to their doctor to say that they're fine, so they can stop paying the medical bills. Mm-hmm. Your own insurance company is doing that to you, and that happens regularly. When it becomes really interesting is when you get those kind of no-fault exams and they extend the treatment for the client. Then it becomes really interesting because something is really going on that's not good for your client medically. And then later on, if you get to trial, the defendant will have their own DME doctor, and they'll start to say other things, and they'll say, wait a minute. Another doctor not hired by us found this 3 years ago. So that's really great fodder for cross-examination if you know how to weave them in and make it work.
All right. Well, these have come up in my business over the past few months because attorneys have called me to attend as a neutral observer, for their injured clients. And how does that work for you? Do you go out there yourself to attend these DMEs, or do you have a paralegal you send? How do you approach that?
Yes. So we don't personally go, because that's a mistake, in my opinion. Because if I was to go to the examination, I can't put myself on the stand and ask myself questions. We try to send a paralegal and have the paralegal take notes. First of all, have the paralegal time the exam.
Yeah, that's important.
And the insurance companies and these DME doctors say, well, the exam took 45 minutes, but you were in the waiting room for 40 minutes, and you were actually in the examination room for 5 minutes. So first and foremost, time the exam from when you're actually in the examination room. Secondly, take notes, because doctors are famous for saying, how you doing today? And the client will say, okay. And they'll say, okay, they'll write down no present complaints. I mean, it sounds like a sitcom, but unfortunately it's not. And it happens all the time.
Oh, boy. Well, that's why I think people have been hiring me and people from my company to go out and be like an impartial witness of what is going on, being their eyes and ears.
Yes.
I think it has been helpful. And if you need to, if you need us to be a rebuttal witness, we can do that.
Yes. And it's really important because, if the client says, well, I never told the doctor that, and the doctor says, well, yes, she did, most jurors are going to believe the doctor. But if we had somebody like from your company that we can put on the stand and say, no, that's not what happened. That gives it a whole different spin. Yeah. And also afterwards, when you get the report from the doctor, when they're talking about range of motions, and I use this instrument and that instrument, it's helpful to have somebody of a medical background to interpret that, not only for us and help us prepare questions, but also to explain to the jury what that's all about.
Yeah, or to tell them there weren't any instruments there.
Correct. Right.
I didn't see a thing.
Right. There was an instrument. It was on the shelf.
Right. Yeah, it was in the room, but we didn't actually. I didn't see it get used.
Yeah, right.
So I got you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You have given us another wealth of wonderful insights and information today. I'm so glad you've come. And now, is there anything else that you want to share? Because it's almost time for your Q&A.
Oh, okay.
For people, is there anything that you missed that you want to share with us?
I would just like to emphasize the importance of the DME to the case, and don't treat it just like another calendar event, because it's not. It's a make or break deal, and if you can't send somebody with knowledge in there, you're doing your client and the case a disservice.
All right, I got you.
Yep.
All right, we are going to get to the Q&A. Are you ready to answer some questions?
Sure.
All right. So everybody that's out there live, get your questions ready for Paul, and he's ready to answer them. But while you're getting your questions together to put into the comments, I am going to take what I call a small sponsor break to let you know about what we do here at Wade Nurse Consultants, and then we'll be right back to Paul. Now, everyone, it's not always completely clear about what legal nurse consultants do, so we'll make it clear for you today. At Wade Nurse Consultants, it's all about review, research, and roadmaps. When we review medical records, we summarize and translate that information into human language, easily understood by judges and juries. When we research, we complete medical literature searches regarding topics attorneys may not be familiar with. We locate appropriate experts to help fortify their cases, and we attend those IME/DMEs as nurse observers. And we also create roadmaps for these attorneys' injured clients in the form of life care plans, detailing their future medical needs over their lifetimes, including estimated costs for that care. To recap, the LNCs, legal nurse consultants at Wade Nurse Consultants, for them, it's all about reviews, research, and roadmaps. Now, schedule a 15-minute free medical case strategy call by clicking the calendar link in the comment section of the description box of this YouTube channel, and we can have a chat. And now let's get back to Paul. There you are, Paul.
Terrific.
All right, let's see what questions we have. Do we have any questions yet? Not yet, Paul.
Oh, that's okay.
We do.
I did want to, if I could, Lisa, just circle back because
Okay.
the life care plan that you just mentioned is so important. And people who either may not know what a life care plan is or are not using it, a life care plan, as you aptly said, is a plan that projects the future treatment that a client may need and the cost of that treatment. It's of vital importance because if you're in front of a jury and you get the blackboard out and you start writing numbers saying this person's going to live another 33 years, they're going to need $10,000 a year in medical expenses. That alone tells the jury that's $330,000 before we get to pain and suffering. Future, and if it's future surgeries, future diagnostic testing, MRIs, CAT scans, things like EMGs, things of that nature, the numbers add up in a hurry. And, I think it adds at a minimum 3x to the case and often more than that. So do not neglect life care plans. They're so important.
All right. And I'm right behind you.
Yeah.
At Wade Nurse Consultants, we don't just have anybody doing those life care plans. They would be certified nurse life care planners. So I got you. It's a lot of good, vital information that also helps people know what their injuries are going to cost or over the length of their life. It's good information for anybody to know.
Sure. And as a non-treating medical expert, your company will have much more credibility because you're underscoring what the treating physician has been telling the jury all along. Now you're a independent, objective medical expert, and you're just projecting and crunching numbers and things of that nature. And it gives a whole other layer of what the client has gone through and what they will go through in the future. So it's very, very important.
All right. Well, as always, I'm right behind you, Paul. You're making absolutely wonderful sense to me. So let's, I think I'm checking one more time for questions, and it doesn't look like we have any, but
it's because you're so thorough.
Well, there's no questions to ask. But if anybody's watching on the replay and they decide they have a question for you, I'm going to leave your contact information inside the description box of this YouTube channel. So when anybody watches, they can still reach out to you and ask those questions that are on their mind. Is that a plan?
That sounds great. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, all right then. Well, I think we're getting ready to wind up.
Okay.
And as always, thank you again for coming. And I hope we can do this another time.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to see you.
Oh.
And I'm happy that your company and yourself are thriving because you provide a valuable service.
Oh, thank you. That is much appreciated, Paul. And I just want to remind everybody to like this show, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if you have any questions for me about legal nurse consulting, DME exams, you can catch me on my email, lisa@wadenurseconsultants.com. But how about this? You catch us next time on a Monday at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a brand new episode of Should You Take That Case? And thanks again, Paul.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks for watching and listening to another episode of Should You Take That Case with your host, Lisa Wade, your friendly neighborhood legal nurse consultant, owner of Wade Nurse Consultants, and creator of our private LinkedIn community, the Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. That is where we get all of our stellar attorney guests. The goal of our show is to be a resource for legal professionals who pursue medical cases by sharing their experiences and insights as defense or as plaintiff attorneys. You can catch prior episodes at www.wadenurseconsultants.com/blog, on LinkedIn, and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel and sharing this show with others.